On this particular episode with Regan, this one got cut short by a mistake by myself. I apologize to Regan. We went for 2 hours and had an amazing conversation, regular type of KOTL 2 hour length. And the video is going to be cut short at around 45 minutes. Your boy messed up. It's been years since I fumbled the ball like this. Apologize profusely to Reagan. He will be back on the podcast. I'm gonna make it up for my man. I'm gonna make it up for you guys who come on to these episodes expecting 2 hours of content or hour and a half or whatever about. Say it's 45 minutes. Reagan is a phenomenal junior, 105 kilo junior world champ, won best lifter at junior worlds, and the most successful Denmark lifter of all time and a rising star in Europe. He's a disciple of Joey Flex, and the kid's got, I mean, you go into social media, he's got it all. You want to talk about the boxes being checked? Um, he's charismatic, tells a great story, phenomenally talented. In just a couple years of powerlifting, everything that he's already achieved, his progress in his last two competitions, he's added 50 kilos to his total, 50-50 in two competitions. So anybody who got blindsided by him at Junior Worlds, don't feel bad. He upped his total by 50 kilos. You go in there thinking it's a close race. My man's got it by a country mile and ends up best lifter of the entire world championships. So definitely somebody to watch out for. Couple other while I'm giving some updates. Um, I got a couple of podcasts dropping this week, and they are attached to some major announcements. Very exciting. So make sure you keep your eyes subscribed. Don't miss them. And they're bangers. They're bangers. Including, of course, Matt Gary, previously Team USA head coach, now Britain US head coach. He's going to be at the British Nationals and taking a look at his future team. He's returning to KOTL. My man's been on KOTL since 2000, whatever the hell. We've been doing this for what, 8 years? Well, he was there 8 years ago. So he's coming back, frequent contributor and host. He's going to talk about the British team, why he moved, the team he's got, what he expects from his team when Britain goes against USA. And this is interesting. You see this in other sports. You see this in other sports. I know. Look at I'm from Canada, and Canada's got obviously tons of amazing hockey players and hockey coaches, and we are used to seeing Canadians get scouted and Canadian coaches, some of the best coaches in the world. You can only have a couple coaches on your Canadian national hockey team, and we're playing against Canadians for the gold medal at the World Championships, Olympics, etc. And they're the ones coaching other teams. That happens. This is normal. As big as sports get, you're going to see more and more of this happening. And Matt Gary, whom, if he's not the game day GOAT, he better be in that discussion. You're not having a discussion on game day GOATs without Matt Gary involved. Put it that way. If you have a list of game day GOATs or you have a discussion and debate about it, I'm okay if you have someone else besides Matt Gary. I'm not that far in where I'm going to be like, but if he's not involved in that discussion or he's not on your list, I'm no longer listening to your discussion. I don't care to read your list. All right. So he's coming back on the podcast. So we got some bangers coming out. Don't miss them. And yeah, Christmas is around the corner. New Year's is around the corner. We have fun with those. Anyways, your boy Six Pack Lapadat. I'll sign off and stay tuned for this one. And I'm gonna make it up for Reagan. I'm gonna make it up for my man because I owe him on this one. My man, I apologize one more time and apologize to you guys listening. Regin Stergakis. I have to get it
Yep.
while it's hot, my man. I names. Thank you, dog.
On the
Um,
mill.
when I'm commentating at IPF Worlds, I try to always get back to the warm up room and be like, how do I properly pronounce your last name? And write it down phonetically. And one time I was at Worlds, like this is years back, And I was like, how do I pronounce your last name? And I'm talking to like somebody from Eastern Europe. And he's telling me, I'm like, okay. And I'm writing it down phonetically. And he comes over my shoulder and he sees me writing it down. He goes, no, 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 you're writing it wrong. I'm like, no, dog. I know what I know what it's probably written. It's literally posted. I'm writing it the way I gotta say it. But he doesn't know what I'm saying because there's a language barrier. He goes, so I'm writing it, and he's trying to stop me. And I'm like, man, just let me do this.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
worry, I got you. But I got to. But anyways, thank you, man. And first
But I
off,
have a hard name.
congratulations. It's you know what, depending on the region you're in, it can be tough.
Like even at home, I have a hard name to pronounce. Everybody's like,
Really?
how do I say this? Because it's not even a common Danish name, and like my last name is Greek.
Oh no shit.
Yeah,
I
so
kind of
my origin story is a bit weird because I live in Denmark. I'm Danish and I grew up here. And like I'm quarter Greek and I'm quarter Japanese and I'm
oh
half
shit.
Danish. Yeah.
Dog. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Denmark's lucky to have you then out of all those nations, but no kidding, man. I was just about to say of the last names, some people would think that the Asian, like Japanese last names would be difficult. They're actually relatively how they're written is how they're said.
Yeah.
They're I find that a lot of Japanese last names aren't that bad. You know, how they it's you say it how it's read and it's but some nations, some European nations, how it's read is not how it's said. And that's where you run into trouble. And I find it's more, some of these European last names, man, are like, oh my God. And God bless my friend Kafui Hochoyame, who like is the Canadian 83. His background is Ghana, and so it's an African last name. He's born and raised in Canada, but his first name, last name, it's from Ghana, and everybody I've heard like Kafui. I've heard like it's crazy shit. It is what it is, right?
Yeah,
Like
it is
you
what
get
it
some
is.
names, you come in there, yeah, and some I know commentators try to run to the back to get it sorted, but sometimes you don't know what pops up when you're there. All types of shit pop up,
Yeah.
last minute, and you just didn't have time to get to the back. And like, damn it! And then you see the name come up, and you're like, oh God, all right. Well, I'm gonna try my best. I'm gonna try my best. But congratulations on do that junior world title, best
Thank
lifter.
you.
I mean, in your improvement has been insane from competition to competition, like 50 kilo jumps in your total is talk about a star in the making out of nowhere. I seen you when you were posting. I reposted you, particularly your deadlift. You got a monster deadlift, and I'd kept my eye on you and been posting, and did some research. Whenever I post somebody, I'm like, who is this guy? And your deadlift comes across my attention. I'm reposting, and I'm like, who is this kid? And you hadn't like the progress you made in your last two comp. That's 100 kilos spread in two competitions. So first off, for anyone, because you've really landed on everybody's radar right now, your first competition was 2022.
Yep.
Previous to that, you had to have been weightlifting.
No, I didn't do weightlifting. So I started in CrossFit when I was 14 or 13. My mom said to me, if you don't want to go to soccer, you will come with me to CrossFit. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to go to soccer. So I started training with my family every like Wednesday and Saturday. And it just went from there on. I found out I had a bit of potential. So like one time I tried to do the CrossFit Open. Didn't win as well, but yeah, like that's what got weightlifting started. And when I got tired of the cardio part of it, I just went to a commercial gym and did my thing. So,
When you do, well, first off, God bless your mom for making you do something. I
yeah,
mean,
she's good.
you got to do something. You're not staying at home doing nothing.
No, she's the best.
So, are your parents like into being fit? If she's into CrossFit, she's in the gym herself.
Yeah, all of my family is like working out, doing like gym related stuff. So My mom and dad are doing CrossFit, and then I have two siblings that are like doing CrossFit as well, just with my mom and dad. But my eldest little brother, he just went to like the junior World Championships, like the junior CrossFit Games.
Well, no kidding. How did
Yeah.
he do?
He did well. I think he's the first junior to ever get to represent Denmark at like a big international competition. He placed like 26th, if I remember right. But like he qualified as number 30, so like there's only 30 that gets to go. So
Oh,
that in
okay.
itself is impressive. Like I think there's about 2,000 registered at the start, and then they get like sorted and selected all throughout. They have like open, and they have quarterfinals, semifinals, and then finals, right?
So he made so it's like in powerlifting, we kind of lose perspective, but he's 26 out of 2000 for better
Yeah,
perspective.
yeah. And that's a pretty good arrangement. Like he's very, very well-rounded athlete because in CrossFit you have to be good to a lot of things, right?
Is this like a case of your family has phenomenal genes, phenomenal, like obviously your parents from a young age got you guys in the gym,
Yeah.
or like a mixture of all the above, or what are we looking at here?
I would definitely say a mixture of all things. Like we have good genetics in our family. Definitely, definitely. Um, I feel like for me, personally, I got to the gym and I fell in love with it more or less. I found something I was good at and it just kept thriving. And I think my brother really found some inspiration in that. And very early, he was like, can I go to the gym with you? Can I come to the gym with you today?" And I just took him with me once in a while. And from there on, it started. Like I remember he was, I think he was like 11. He created an Instagram profile, and it just said for the first 3 years, just said training with Big Brother. I didn't tell him to write that. He just wrote that by himself because I think and I hope I was an inspiration to him to get started and do something.
How much younger is he than you?
He's 16, so he's 6 years younger than me.
Okay, that's a decent chunk, man. So
Yeah.
you're like you did a lot of your growing up before him. Like when you were 12, he was only 6. When you're
Yeah.
18, he's 12. So you're a man and he's not even a teenager yet. So he looks up
Oh,
to you.
you're gonna be amazed. Like the spread in my family is wild. Like I'm 22, my brother is 16. We have a sister that's 11. Then we have another little brother that's 6. And my mom just gave birth to another little brother. Like what was
God, you're
it?
22 years older than him.
He's 1 month old now.
Damn. He's
Yeah.
probably doing CrossFit.
Yeah, he's already in the gym. He already
That's right.
started.
That's right. She's like, no excuses. It's been a month. Let's go. No shit. So it's interesting because all of what you're doing right now is going to be taken in by them. Like even if they can't fully appreciate it right now, when they're older, this is a digital age. This is a digital footprint.
Mm.
You're winning junior worlds, and even this podcast right now, they could be your age now, late in the future, and listen to this and
Yeah.
hear all this.
Yeah, it's very like surreal to put into that perspective. I'm very glad I got started and got this opportunity. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you, my man. So
Yeah.
when you were younger, what sports were you watching? Like, what were you into over there in Denmark? Because I see you rocking the baseball jersey.
Yeah,
That
I
might be
don't
fashion.
I found this at a thrift store, so it's
I
just
said, okay,
fashion
yeah,
wise, I think.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not
No, I
really
got you.
into baseball, but like Otani, like the Japanese baseball player, he's cool. He's so cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
What sports are
Um,
big in Denmark?
I would say soccer or football, as we call it here,
Yeah, yeah.
is the biggest and the most influential. And I also did that. So,
And how did you end up finding powerlifting in particular?
um, it's pretty funny because I went to the gym right after I was finished with CrossFit. And now, of course, like the usual, you get a gym buddy, you get a couple of gym buddies, and like they said, "Oh, Regan, you're so strong," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just lifting weights." And they were like, "You should definitely compete at a strongman competition." So they signed me up for a strongman competition. I was like, "Yeah, well, let's do it." And I got to that strongman competition. I think I was about 18 years old here. And I got over there, and it was at this like hybrid powerlifting and strongman and weightlifting gym. So a lot of different people was there,
Mm.
and went over there, and I clearly remember the what is it called? Like not the you're yeah the not a gym leader, that's in Pokemon. The girl or the woman running the place called Pia, she said to me, she was like, "You would be great in powerlifting." And I didn't really think much of it. I think I
Well, you owe
blocked
her a lot, by the way, now.
I really do. I really do. I think I block pulled like 280 that day. I just raw dogged it. Like when I look back, it's just that feeling of cringe because my back was all crooked.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a pretty cool feat of strength. And she just said, "Yeah, you'll be great at powerlifting." I didn't really think much of it until like lockdown came by. And all I had really going for me was a barbell and 250 kilos of weight. So me and my friend Andreas, we like built a like homemade rack out of like different parts of wood we had like left to spare. And we started doing everything we could do with a barbell. And of course, there was a back squat, there was a deadlift, and there was a bench press
You
involved.
make a bench press?
Like my mom worked at a place where we could rent a bench, so we
Mm,
just rented that bench. But everything else, that was also where we got the weight from.
nice. Yeah, man, during lockdown, you would see I saw some people who worked in like a warehouse and they were like squatting off of a freaking forklift, using the forklift as like
Yeah,
the rack, and like people made they got it done. Like
they
people were
got
getting it
some
done.
yeah some really insane like videos I also have on my camera roll. Where it was just like the setup was fine. But like the conditions we trained in, because we have pretty harsh weather here in Denmark, we just trained in hail and snow and like the most soggy, rainy weather ever. But we got it done, and like it was really motivating and refreshing to like experience that.
You feel a little tougher. You were in your garage or where were you doing it?
No, we were just doing it outside. Like
Holy
we
shit.
we were in the middle
Literally.
of a yeah, my parents were in the middle of a renovation of the house. Um So we had some like spare tiles and stuff we could lay out just to make a kind of stable platform. Yeah, we just did it there.
So it was like hailing and you're squatting and like just
Yeah,
getting after it.
yeah, yeah,
Holy man, those videos would be amazing. You do you have like video footage of this?
yeah, I do.
You got to share these with me, man. That's phenomenal. Talk about getting after it. Talk about like no excuses. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like people look outside, and that's just outside. They could just get to their car and go to the gym like that. Fuck it. It's
yeah,
crazy outside. The roads are crazy outside. You guys are like, no, we're lifting in that.
yeah. That was when like fitness really started to get to me. I was like, all right, I want to do something with this. I can really thrive in this, and I really enjoy this. So that was really what lit a fire upon me, not just like going there for like look wise, but like when I started switching my mentality from like look wise to performance wise, that was when I really gained a lot of um yeah, a lot of what do you call it, results. Yeah.
The results, motivation. Here's the thing: if you chase the numbers in terms of like actually getting stronger, the looks wise, you're going to get more muscular. That'll
Hmm.
come. That'll just be a byproduct in and of itself. You don't got to worry about it. But when you go to the gym just to lift weights to look a certain way, once you shift to powerlifting and there's numbers attached, oh, buddy, every
Yeah.
time you go into the gym now, once you have numbers attached, you're like, it's like a video game now. And you
Yeah.
unlock this one new number, the new round number, and like, oh shit, what's next?
It's so
It's way more
nice.
exciting.
It's
You're never
way
going
more
back.
exciting. No, no,
Yeah.
no. And that's why, of course, I enjoy certain aspects of like bodybuilding. And I do a lot more bodybuilding than I think the typical like powerlifter would do. But that's just what tends to work with me.
Mm,
Um, and like as you said, it's like a video game. It's like it's so exciting to chase those numbers. It's so
mm.
exciting to like feel you become better each session or each and every day. And like of course there's down periods. Like when you have a certain number in your mind and you don't hit it, you're like, fuck.
What am I doing? I suck.
Yeah.
I got to rethink everything. Yeah, it's all part of it. But before
Hmm.
you had those numbers, once you unlock that, to go back to not having numbers and just going to the gym, it's great to have a pump. It's great to get the angst out. It's great to
Yeah.
like feel a little fatigue. That's great. But it's so difficult to go back to not have those measuring sticks and numbers. It's almost like, what am I doing? I don't, you can almost never go back. When you went into powerlifting, coming at like when you were in lockdown, let's say, did you start paying attention to powerlifting? Like who is who?
Yeah.
And okay, so
No.
who did you
Mhm.
find?
Yeah, of course, like first I got introduced to it internationally because powerlifting isn't that big in Denmark. Like it's really growing right now. Um, but like in the US, it's way bigger. Like you can get scholarships in school for doing
Yeah,
powerlifting and stuff. So of course we found I found like people like John Hack. I found like pe people like Jesus Olivares, all those types of people. Um, I had a lot of influences growing up and being like, all right, there's definitely opportunity in this. It's not just going out there being all caveman and just lifting weights. There's way more to it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, doors will open. Like you, you can end up now. You're finding out traveling the world doing this sport. You can end up with
yeah.
sponsorships. You can end up at Sheffield. And we'll talk about all that, but doors will open up if you're good enough. And when you started this, so you're all of a sudden chasing numbers in a sport like powerlifting, and in Denmark, it's not that big yet. What is everyone else telling you? Are they like, what are you doing? Do they fully understand? Are you like just you and a few guys around you know who everyone is about powerlifting, but the rest of the people don't fully get it and understand the opportunity there?
Yeah, you could say that to a certain degree. Like I think everybody like has an idea of what strength is. So like of course if you're working to be strong, you can always like well, when you see a guy squat 300 kilos, you would think that's hella impressive, right? No matter
Yeah,
where it is in the world.
fair.
Um and that's what like more or less happened to me here at home. I just started chasing some certain numbers. Like I remember the first number I clearly chased was like the Danish record on deadlifts, like in my age and weight class. It was 300 kilos at the time. I was like, I have to get this. I have to get it, and like to make it official, I had to get a powerlifting license, and I had to go to a powerlifting club and get a membership. I don't know how you guys run it in the US, but like we have to go to a club and like get a powerlifting license to go to competitions. And it can take up to half a year before it's not necessarily accepted before it's active.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And well, first off, how big is powerlifting in Denmark? Like your nationals and how many lifters on the national team end up podiuming at junior worlds and worlds, open worlds?
Um I th I'm pretty sure I'm the first one to win the overall, like just in general in any competition internationally. that hasn't been done before.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I'm also I'm like I'm the best lifter at home, both equipped and like classic. Um, or both by points and like I have the heaviest total in Danish history and the heaviest deadlift. So like I would say like where I'm at right now is the pinnacle of what Danish powerlifting has been. But I can really feel like once I started growing, there's really been a movement of a lot of people like Benjamin McIntyre. Have you heard of him?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a shooting star. He's like a little brother to me. He's so amazing. There's like Leon. He just competed at Euros, Junior Euros, and he finished second. And he only finished second because like I think they totaled the same,
Oh,
but
body weight
the
then.
yeah, exactly. He only lost by body weight. And then there's a guy like Lauritz, who is a great deadlifter as well. I think he finished first on deadlift at Euros. So we
Those
definitely have a lot of potential at home. But like when the sport grows, there's also a lot of shooting stars coming out of nowhere. And that makes sense because the amount of people doing powerlifting just grows. So there's gonna be a whole lot more talent pool to take from.
in like for sure, social media and our social media stars is like a casting call for talent.
Yeah.
So Denmark having you in your social media in a relatively short period of time, because you started competing in 2022. That's
Yeah.
2 years. Like that's like 2 years is nothing. And
No.
you're already one junior worlds, one best lifter, and your social media is blowing up. I mean, this is really good for Denmark to get a guy like you, good looking guy, strong, can hop on the podcast and
Thank
talk
you.
about the sport, knows how to use social media. There are stars. I was talking to somebody the other day. I forget who it was, but Italy's got women who are crushing in Corolla Gara, multiple time world champion, different weight classes, in and out of equipment. Serenaldi, who just moved into the 57s, just beat Jajak up, the reigning 57 world champ. And Chiara Bernardi, who's a 63 and a podium threat at 63, stacked division. Those ladies are phenomenal, but they don't always post. And they don't always like, you know how the algorithm works and know like I took a look at your YouTube, obviously Instagram, TikTok, etc. You got like a proper camera first off. You're posing with the fellas, like you look like you're a freaking model posing for these. You know what you're doing. You got the equipment. You're editing it up. For Denmark to get a guy like you, who not only has the talent but knows how to market himself, is huge for a nation to start bringing other people in.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. My goal with this, like my goal in general has always been to like make a living out of my passion, and I really find a passion in powerlifting. So like if I just go under a rock and don't show anything, I can't expect anything. Like I have to like have certain attention on me to like get on your Instagram, for example, to get shouted out and do sorts of stuff. But I've not always been good at it. And if you look at my content, it's mostly I just lift weight, right? Of
Or
course I
like,
edit it, put some epic music on, but like
yeah,
definitely have room to grow to make like my platforms even bigger. And I feel like that's also an exciting part of the journey, like learning all of these stuff, learning all about like how to make videos, how to make engaging and informative videos, and like how to deal with sponsorships and so on and so forth.
you got to almost navigate those waters as it come. The thing with you, you're blowing up so quickly. In 2 years, to be the best lifter at a world championship is crazy.
Yeah, it's my
In terms of
fifth competition.
that's nuts. It's happening so quickly for you. And I was saying like the total PRs coming from you, 50 kilos, 50 kilos, like you would creep up on someone so quickly. People would see your previous competition and think, okay, we're neck and neck. Then when Junior Worlds rolls around, it's like, no, 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 no. It's me and then there's everybody else. And they wouldn't, it just 50 kilos, that's a big spread. Even if you're crushing it in the gym, how many times I've had preview shows and I'm excited about some lifter and I'm like, did you see what this guy's doing in the gym? And the other people on the podcast will be like, that's the gym. Let's see what happens if it transpires on the platform. Like mitigate your expectations. But with you, it's been happening like a crazy amount of progress. I don't got to tell you. So you hit 903. In terms of those round numbers we're talking about, you broke into the 900s already as a junior. 940.5 is the open world record.
Yeah.
Open world record. Anatoly has that. Ashton, who's a legend. Ashton Rouska, who's a legend, just totaled that to take the open world championship and beat Anatoly. You're 903 and you're putting on 50 kilos every time out. So what are we talking here? Like, if you,
Like, the more advanced you get, the harder it is to progress.
sure, sure. Yeah.
But like I tend to have a very optimistic mindset, and I like the approach of just like doing things for enjoyment, because I keep my training diverse and do a lot of stuff to keep enjoyment high. And like when my motivation is skyrocketing, like my progress is skyrocketing. Um, so I try to keep it exciting, and of course I want to hit those numbers soon, at least one day, and I want to really battle with the big boys. Like Rushka is such a nice guy. Can we talk a bit about him? He's so cool.
Super nice guy. And he's
Yeah.
encouraging. And he's another guy who at like 19 years old, he was 19, he was a teenager. He's a
Yeah.
phenom, he's a prodigy. The
Hmm.
reigning world champion was LS McLean. And in the US on the national team, him and LS battled, and LS was the reigning world champ, and Rauska was 19, and he beat him head up for that world spot. And it's like, oh my God, like he's a special talent.
Yeah.
You know,
He's so good.
what was your thoughts when you were watching that battle between him and Anatoly at the World Championships?
Um, I remember thinking to myself, I was like, shit, I gotta do this one day. I gotta stand toe to toe with them one day and be like, all right, here we go. Because they are so incredibly talented athletes. And yeah, I just gotta step my game up. Like I know I'm young and I know I have like the age advantage. But still, I feel like there's far.
Well, I mean, I know what you mean. Like it does
Yeah,
slow down as you get closer to the top, the progress. Um, okay, we'll talk about that one sec, but on Anatoly versus Ashton, interesting enough, I reached out to Anatoly and he won best lifter at world open worlds twice. He's, multiple time world champ. Phenomenal.
yeah.
He still holds the world record. I reached out to Anatoly about a podcast and he was kind of down on himself. He was legitimately like, I don't know, like, are people still even interested? There's other new guys coming in. And I'm like,
Dog.
my
He's
man,
amazing. Like I don't,
you know,
of course. Of
this is what
course.
I'm saying. I'm like,
He's a
yeah, I'm like,
legend, man.
I know. I'm like, what do you, thing is, they're human. It's tough. I know
Yeah.
when Ashton said he was coming over, Anatoly got put on the spot with a good question. SPD asked him this question, and this is the type of question I like to ask. So, like, when I see those questions come in, I'm like, hats off on that one. But they were like, "What do you think about Ashton Rouska coming to Worlds, and there's going to be an inevitable clash between the two of you? What do you think about that? What are your thoughts? Because obviously Ashton had that big total, and Anatoly said, you could do whatever you want in the US. It's different when you come to worlds. It's different hitting a world standard. It's different. And
Mm.
he was laughing it off. He wasn't backing down. And you can't. When you're the reigning world champ, you better put your chest out. You
Yeah.
better not back. He's coming anyways. So you might as well stand on it. On the flip side, Anatoly is probably such a proud man that for him to take a loss, and he hasn't taken a loss. He was a 93 crushing it, beating guys like Gustav Hedlund straight up is a 105 crushing it. So for him to take a loss, and it wasn't a bad loss, but he's probably a little rattled. And he might not realize everybody still thinks exactly like you said. You're a legend, dog. What are you talking about? It doesn't erase what you've already done.
No, no, no. Well, like we see every year, like a new person comes in, like me, and just shatter the records and
Yeah.
being like, oh shit, that's the next big thing. But like I have to stay on my toes because I know like even a guy like from Denmark, Benjamin McIntyre, if I slow down, he'll just catch up to me like this.
Mm.
So I have to be at my A game every single day I wake up and like do everything in my power to become the best version of myself.
Well, I mean, Bob was on the podcast, and we'll get deeper into that, but Bob was saying, I can't take my foot off the gas, man. I'm
No,
right now currently, the world champ, but he's like, I'm not unaware. I see these dudes. He's got Nonzo, the 120.
yeah,
Nonzo's a teenager. And
exactly.
Nonzo's attempting biggest deadlift in IPF, period. As a teenager, he's loading up 411 kilos, zero point 0.5 or whatever it is, for the biggest deadlift. And Nonzo's talking about 1,000 kilo total. You can't take your foot off the gas. It doesn't matter if you're Bob or anybody. And those are like Bob's tip of the iceberg. And none of these
Yeah,
guys can take their foot off the gas. Um, you know,
no. And it's like this in every weight class. Like we have a junior prodigy, like you said with Nonso, he's going coming for Bob, and like I'm coming for like Ashton, trying to do my best to be as strong as him or even stronger. But I'm like, I'm patient with the process, and yeah, I'm gonna get there one day. I'm sure of it.
so for yourself, when you were looking for a coach, you were Joey Flex, right?
Yeah,
And obviously Joey's got a murderer's row of athletes
yeah,
under him.
yeah.
How did you end up picking Joey Flex? You just hop on there, take a look. Who are some of the top dogs? And he's got a bunch of them.
Hmm. I've always known him through like guys like Keiko and like Jesus and what yeah, even John Hack.
Russ.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Russ, of course, who can forget Russ? So I was like, all right, if I wanna be one of the greats one day, I have to like use their footprints
Mm.
to step in the right direction. And one day, out of nowhere, I think like I posted like a 370 attempt on deadlift. I failed it. But Joey just commented out of nowhere. He was like, "You're gonna get this." And I was like, "Fuck, shit." I have those eyes on me. And at the time, I didn't have any coach. But I had to go to Japan for a month with some friends and some family. So I was like, all right, when I get back to from Japan to Denmark, I'm gonna contact Joey. So I contacted Joey and I just wrote to him and I was like, hey, I really want you to coach me. And he was like, all right, let's do this and you can hop on. And yeah, I am very positively excited by the treatment I've been given by Joey. Like I've just been taken care of in every aspect I could imagine, and he is really the best. Like I couldn't imagine a better coach to coach me, at least. He lets me have my free room. He knows me as a lifter already. We've been working together for a little over a year, and he just gives me the leash, and he knows what gets me going. And once I got to meet him at Junior Worlds, it was just like we just clicked. It was perfect. It was just this perfect moment of balance, like Thanos in fucking Endgame.
Aha.
Yeah, it was absolutely perfect, and we just got along so well, and everything just went just the way we wanted it to be. And yeah, I couldn't thank him enough. He's an amazing coach and an amazing friend and like an amazing anime enthusiast, just like me.
It's an anime enthusiast. Yeah. So
Yeah,
crazy. The parallels between powerlifting and anime. I don't know how it happened, but anime is such a part of powerlifting. It's like part of the culture.
yep.
It's wild. How did this
It
happen, man? What's
it
going
is.
on? Every time I talk to him, like 50% of them, even Russ is like all in on anime.
Yeah,
I don't know why powerlifting, Penna, I don't know why powerlifting and anime is so closely related, but it is.
I don't know. And maybe that's a part of why I related to it so much. Like I grew up with it. I grew up with this stuff. Like my mom gave me my first book when I was like 6 or something. So I did
Oh, you're quarter
anime way
Japanese.
before I did sports. Yeah, yeah. And I'm quarter Japanese. So my grandma also, she always came home with like One Piece and Naruto shirts. She would just put them on me and just like, here you go, Seichan.
Yeah, and with obviously in the last year, you put on like 100 kilos on your total. So whatever you're doing with Joey is working.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's been around in so many battles. It's got to be confident for you to be at junior worlds in certain nations when they get the international level. If they're not big powerlifting nations, they might not have a coaching staff that's used to these big battles, that's used to the international stage where someone who's actually could win this. You're just, it's just inexperience. It doesn't mean they can't get there. But as the commentator at the World Championships, I've been doing it since 2016. I've
Yeah.
seen it all, my friend. I've
You're an
seen
OG.
like I'm an OG, and I've seen nations. I was there for Hack versus Gibbs, commentating and whatnot, like back in the day. That's when I first met Joey. Is Hack versus Gibbs when he was John Hack's coach, and you see nations come in that might have a super good talent in terms of the lifter, but the coaching staff around them haven't been in this like these major battles yet because they just hadn't had a lifter to bring them there. And they will over time and exposure.
Um,
But to bring in a guy like Joey, who's an OG, Joey's been in battles since he's been doing this for almost a decade at the worlds, battling it out against the world's best. You bring in a guy like that, if you're at all nervous, and Joey's with you, you're cutting
yeah.
weight and Joey's with you, your
Yeah.
attempt selection and Joey's with you, it's going to
Yeah.
be like, I'm all right. I have less to worry about.
Dog, I've never felt so many stones just fall off my back. It was amazing having him there. I really we have a bit of a weird system here in Denmark, like in terms of like selecting people going to international competitions.
Mm.
Um, so like at first I got noticed that I wasn't going to Worlds, and I was like, "What?
What?
What do you mean I'm not going? Like I have total like 910 in training. Like I could shatter records. I really want to do this. Like this is what I've been working for the last 3 or 4 years." And first I got noticed, and I had to push a little bit to get sent, and yeah, it's pretty funny because I've it's been a ride at home. Like I had to be a year on the, do you know what the whereabouts list is?
Yeah, for drug testing.
Yeah, exactly. I had to be a year on the whereabouts list just to even go to the national team. Like I have to be on the national team.
Really, the thing is, oh, okay, that's interesting
Yeah.
because how do they know you're going to make the national team a year ahead in advance? They just throw a bunch of possible people on. The thing is, a year ago, you were 100 kilos less. So how could they even foresee? That's difficult.
No, because I was so dominant in like the the junior things I did. Already, I think, well, what order was it? I think I attempted the heaviest deadlift of all time in Denmark. And they were just like, yeah, we're gonna put him on because I shattered every record in my age group and weight class. So
Oh,
they
that's
were
good.
like, yeah, he's definitely going on the national team at some point. So we'll just throw him
Mhm.
on the whereabouts list, and then he can, yeah, come to the national team when he's not done there. I'm still on there, but yeah,
The thing with that whereabouts list, um, my man, you got to be like on point because people get
yeah,
hit. It's as though you fail the test if they come and you're not there.
yeah,
And look at, I was 21. I know what it's like to like, you're all over the place. It's not the first thing on the
yeah,
forefront of your mind. You're doing a million things. And if you even said, I'll be out of town at this, I've heard about, I'm out of town at this hotel. Here's my hotel room, etc. And then you change hotel rooms or whatever. whatever pops up. So I've even been where you have to change hotels. You get there, sorry, we ran out of space. Well, we have you over here. That happens at Worlds. You show
Yeah,
up, you think you got a room, and they're like, we got booked up. Whatever the shit happened, they have to move you to a different hotel, a sister hotel, but it's just across the street, whatever. And at that moment in time, you're not thinking about the whereabouts check-in. You have
yeah,
actual competition on your mind. You have
yeah,
weight. Maybe you're dehydrated. You have a weigh-in. You have a cut. You have so much, the competition itself on your mind. So you go over to that other hotel. If they showed up then and you weren't there and you didn't update, that's a strike on you, man. You got like an hour to
yeah,
find them, or they have an hour to find you. However, it works. Like it's tight. It's very difficult. It's a tight one, especially juniors. I feel like God, if I was on that whereabouts and I'm 20 years old, it'd be a train wreck, man.
yeah, yeah. Like I'm used to it by now. Of course, at the start, it was a bit stressful. Because like, oh shit, if I do anything wrong, I'll get a strike, and like 3 strikes and you're out.
That's right.
Um, And yeah, I just grew with the assignment. Like I knew I had responsibility now because now I could really consider myself an athlete. And I think the biggest question about Regin in general had been like, oh, is he natural? And like it's nice to have a stamp that says, oh, I'm on the whereabouts list. Like, yeah.
And that'll be a big thing for
So,
you
uh,
because you're young and jacked. So people
yeah.
automatically will go at your natural status.
Yeah, I just take it as a compliment whenever people say it to me and or ask me, be like, "Oh, are you natural?" And I'm like, "Nah, yeah, of course. I compete in drug tester federations and
Hmm.
on the whereabouts list and so on and so forth." Yeah.